So let's turn to this airport dust-up.
Right.
And, you know, I've always saluted you as a true conservative. You didn't bend with the wind like most Republicans did when George W. Bush was president. You remained a fiscal conservative. So I guess you probably would agree with me that with a $3.54 trillion budget this year, I'm not buying that the administration and Congress can't find enough money to keep our air traffic control towers staffed.
Joe, this is a complete no-brainer. We have a federal government that has more than doubled in size, more than 100% growth in spending in the last 12 years, and now we're told we can't trim 2.5% of that. But here's what's, I think, a little-known fact that's pretty compelling about why the administration is clearly manufacturing a crisis for political gain. Take a look at the FAA budget. If the sequester goes through and stays in place, the FAA will have more money to spend in 2013 than what the president asked for in his budget submission.
Okay, hold on, stop. Because sometimes there are things that are said that need to be repeated.
Okay.
I want you,
Really?
Yeah.
after, let's count to, let's have 3 seconds of silence, and then I want you to repeat that again. 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah, if the sequester goes into effect and stays into effect and the savings are achieved, the FAA for this year will have more money to spend than what the president asked for in his budget submission.
Pat,
I think that tells you all you need to know.
How many times have you and I heard people in the media and on both sides, depending on what committee they're on, screaming about massive spending cuts and how locusts were going to descend from the skies and eat flesh from off of our bones, and we find out later that they have more money this year to spend than they had last year.
But this is why they're doing this, precisely because the president, frankly, and many in his administration were so shrill about this leading up to the sequester. Now they feel like, well, they better make it painful or else they look pretty foolish having predicted all the dire consequences. They backed themselves into a bad position where what they should have done is said, okay, let's work with Congress, let's find the duplication, the waste, the excess. Let's cut the low priority items. They can easily make do with the money that's left over.
So, Pat, are you saying that even if the sequestration goes through, the president will have more money to spend than he even asked for in his own budget? I'd like to repeat it a third time.
In the FAA budget, that is true.
Can you believe that,
true.
Mika? It's on. I mean, this is the scam that governments on local, state, and national levels run all the time. I like to personalize this. I remember my first time, Tom, I got into politics. Pensacola, the city of Pensacola, was trying to raise taxes, property taxes, 65%. So I got involved in a tax revolt. And we were told that tumbleweeds would roll through downtown Pensacola and everybody would be fired and everybody's children would be attacked in their front yards and houses would burn down. Guess what? We killed the property tax increase. The next week, the 8 city managers get a 45% raise in their salary. This is why Americans are so cynical when politicians talk about, oh, give us more. They're like heroin addicts. Give us more money this year than we had last year, or we're all going to die. Well, we don't believe it anymore.
I don't have to tell you, Joe, or Mike, and we've all been covering politics for a long time, the favorite tactic is worst case scenario. Put it out there and try to terrify people.
But I just want to say,
but the whole volume of conflict is so loud that people just switch it out.
This is just really extremely irresponsible, though, to implement these savings, these modest savings, in the most disruptive way possible when there are so many alternatives. You know, the FAA operates a fleet of 26 jets. They spend $143 million a year on that. They have $500 million a year in consultants they pay. The air traffic controllers are less than a third of all the employees of the FAA. If some people needed to be furloughed, shouldn't it be the non-essential employees? This could be managed. It really could. The president's choosing to make it disruptive.
You know what? I was very few times, Mike Barnacle, I've said this, that I'm actually excited on election night when somebody gets elected. When Pat Toomey got elected senator, I was cheering for him the first time he ran, and he almost beat Arlen Specter. But when he got elected, I said, boy, we need a guy like that in Pennsylvania, huh? He's doing a great job, isn't he?
At some point down the road, I want to find out more about the $500 million worth of consultants that the FAA has employed.
That was a red flag word.
And do any of them have to, do they work on lost luggage and long lines? We've got to get to that.
Pat Barnacle wants to know because he wants to start a consulting firm.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably pretty lucrative.
I bet it is. Senator Pat Toomey, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate you being here as always. Tina Brown, what's